All right. I'm going to start admitting people so we can get started right on time today with the recruiting workshop. I'm going to start admitting everybody who's waiting to get in. Here we go. I'm Jill Hicks from JH Consulting. I am so excited to see all these people. And you know what? I see a lot of new families, which is really cool. So welcome, welcome. I'm Jill Hicks. I've owned JH Consulting for 14 years now. Prior to that, I was a college elite, or I was an elite gymnast, college gymnast, then got recruited to Oregon State University. Couldn't do gymnastics, got injured, and I started coaching. So I have been coaching. I had coached college for 20 years and then started this business. Welcome, welcome. Be sure to mute um, your phones or computers. And one thing I would love is if you could also put in the chat what sport your athlete is and or if they're a gymnast, which is the bulk of our clients, if you could list what level she is. That gives me a lot of help when I start to share the details of today's topic. So feel free to just pop in there and put what sport your athlete is, and
Ooh, elite.
uh,
Wow.
if you can mute yourself, I can hear somebody on here. That would be fantastic. Okay, I'm still admitting and excited for all of you to be here today. We're going to get started right now because it is noon, although I'm still admitting people. I will try to answer your questions as we go through the topic. That's my favorite part, actually, is oh, very cool. We have a gymnast, we have a soccer player, we have level 10s, we have elite, we have level 8s, we have Canadians. This is so cool, you guys. I'm really glad you're on here. College recruiting is not easy. I can tell you that. We've had hundreds of clients that we have placed here at JH Consulting, and I can tell you none of them are easy. None of them are straight, Zoom process to from club gymnastics straight to a team. It's really hard. And it is a little bit different than a lot of other sports that are out there. So, as you know, there's only 80 some women's NCAA college teams. We also support the acrobatics and tumbling. I even have a girl who's going to go stunt. We've had a few athletes that went stunt, so that's a growing sport. A lot of gymnasts go into that as well. Um, so we absolutely love helping our families. We see it as a team effort and not just us doing the recruiting, because in gymnastics, it's a smaller world, and the college coaches want to get to know the athlete personally. So it's really important that the athlete in the end represents themselves to the college coaches. They expect that. Whereas like football, basketball, those bigger sports that are in every high school, it's completely different. In those sports, they recruit off of a profile often, and then they get to know the athlete. Whereas in gymnastics, they want to get to know the athlete um, personally first. So we do all kinds of things here to help the athletes understand that and then also prepare for that because they don't have a lot of confidence. They've never done anything like this before. And in the area we're going to talk about today, it is videos. So videos are extremely powerful in the recruiting process. Okay, this is crazy, y'all. I did not expect this many people. This is this is like uh I am overwhelmed with all the people that have joined, but I'm thrilled. So, here we go. The topic's all about videos, and I'll continue to try to admit people as I speak. Videos are key in the recruiting process. I have seen girls change their Instagram, change what they're posting, and start getting a lot more interest almost immediately sometimes when they have a plan and they understand the purpose of their posting videos. So what we tell them here is your videos are like a it's your business resume to the college coaches. So the confusing part for the girls is one, they have to start this sometimes in ninth grade. And they see Instagram, which is where the number one place is where college coaches in gymnastics go for recruiting, and probably also the other sports I mentioned. They see it as a friend thing. Instagram is like a friend platform to them. So it gets very challenging for them to treat it as a recruiting platform. So I tell them, why not have two Instagrams? You can have one for recruiting and one for your friends. And then that takes the load, that pressure off of them to have to feel like they have to be careful what
Okay.
they're
Well,
posting
look,
because their friends
this
are
is
going
what
to.
essentially I,
Oops, I can still hear some people. Be sure to mute your phones or your laptops. Okay. So here are some of the basics in regards to recruiting. I heard somebody say this once. It may not apply all the way to gymnastics, but I think it's pretty good. One, they must keep their academics strong. Two, they must be a good person in and outside of the gym. Three, they must gain exposure. Four, they have to build relationships with the college coaches. And five, they're going to make a final decision. So those are kind of the phases that we see. But we're going to talk about number three, which is how do you gain great exposure in the college gymnastics recruiting process? So yeah, there's a percentage of athletes who are scoring really high and they don't need to do a lot of videos. Their college coaches are going to come after them, but that's only about 8 to 10%. I had 7 elites last year that I worked with, and they got recruited completely different than your average level 10 gymnast who's trying to go from level 9 to level 10 and get the exposure they need with the college coaches. So it can be very different depending on the athlete, but that's a small percentage. Their scores, they're going to be the ones who are winning nationals. They're going to be elite dropbacks to level 10 or elite on the elite stage. Their scores are probably going to be that will elevate them enough to get recruited just because they're scoring so high. Um, but everybody else and the bulk of our clients are not going to be like that. Okay, so if your athlete is expressing that they would like to be a college gymnast someday and they are level 8, they're level 7, they're a level 9, they're normal. That is very common, and we have that's the bulk of our clients. We have to work really hard to help them understand the process, help them understand how to market themselves, help them understand how to create a relationship. All those things the college coaches are looking for. Even a really strong elite gymnast may not represent themselves well on Instagram in their social life or in other things, and they also need to learn some things. But I would say today we're going to talk a lot about videos and what they should and shouldn't be posting. All right, but every sport is a little bit different. In gymnastics, Instagram, like I said earlier, is the number one place for exposure for those kids who need to get in front of the college coaches. Thank goodness we have Instagram. Back when I was a gymnast and or when I was being recruited, we didn't have any kind of form of platform videos. I don't even know how Oregon State found me, to be honest. I never really asked them. I was elite, so that probably helped. But you know, once I got there, I couldn't do gymnastics anymore. I went right on the staff and I started doing recruiting, and it was all on those, big 8 millimeter tapes. And then it went to the smaller discs, and then it now is all on Instagram. All right, so I would say gymnasts get their exposure from My Meet Scores. So that's a website that carries all the scores and from their videos. So we have to help them understand that Instagram is their, like I said, business resume to the college coaches. So they can't just be posting things that their friends are going to like. It's not about their friends. It's not about their likes. It's not even about how many followers they have. A lot of families think that, but it's really not. It's going to be about their ability to show their facts because their videos are their facts to the college coaches. All right, so it's about timing, three things: timing, variety, and consistency when you think about posting videos. We want to get the gymnast to think like through the lens of the college coach. So they're often thinking about themselves. Of course they are. Like, how does this look? What are my friends going to think? What is my coach going to think? Should I post this? Should I not? Should I wait? But we want them to start thinking, what do the college coach's lens, what does their lens look like? Okay. Since I was a college coach for 20 years, that's what I try to get through to my clients when I'm meeting with them. And then they go, oh, it's like it's really hard for them to let go of the impression that they want to give to their friends because they know their friends are going to follow them, especially teammates or, that peer pressure. But I try to help them to let go of that and realize that their college Instagram is for the college coaches. And so we have to know, what do these college coaches want? And they want specific things and they have very little time to view. So they have to understand this. I wanted to start with an example. This is one of my clients who was a level 10. She hired me last November. She's a 2026. I think this will encourage a lot of you. They hired me, like I said, last November. She was injured her sophomore year. She missed her sophomore year of competing. She's a level 10 then. She was now going into her junior season and they hired me. And this athlete was getting no interest. And she wasn't bad. She wasn't a bad level 10 at all. She had a lot of good videos, a lot of good skills. And she wanted Division One. Okay. So her parents just wrote me this, okay, because she just committed to a college and she got a full athletic scholarship. And it took that long. So they hired me in November and it is now August. So it sometimes can take that long. You have to be patient as a parent, realize these skills don't come fast. There's a lot of technique, there's a lot of safety involved in learning new skills and going from level 9 to level
Stop.
10, especially. So this is from the parent. Just wanted to send a quick thank you, Jill, for everything you've done to help our daughter through the recruiting process. Your support and guidance have meant so much to us. Um, from the start, you made the whole experience feel less overwhelming. Thanks for your help. She's found a school and program that feels like the perfect fit. We're so excited for what's next. And it's icing on the cake to have received a full athletic gymnastics scholarship, Division One. At one point, we really thought she was getting into it way too late and had missed her shot. But here we are. She's verbally committed. We are so grateful. You have helped us stay calm and focused in that you believed it was still possible. We are really thankful for you. Okay, so they go on about the appreciation part, which I think is great. But I wanted you to know that this is a normal situation that are dealing with as advisors here at JH Consulting. So if you are a parent and you are feeling like we are behind or we don't know what we're doing, or she's posted all these videos, she even had a pretty darn good season, but we're not getting responses, you are normal. Okay. So this family, like I said, hired me last November. Their daughter was a 2026 level 10, and I took a look at her scores and I looked at Instagram, those two things, because I know that's what the college coaches are going to do. They're going to go straight to those videos. They're going to go straight to her scores. Now, this girl didn't have any scores because she didn't have a season. Okay, she got injured. So I really looked hard at her videos. I knew within minutes where the holes were. And I think that's where these kids, they have no idea. What do you mean I have holes? I have holes in my recruiting path, and parents don't understand that either. Because gymnastics is very technical. It's hard to understand their videos. It's hard to understand their routines. But I knew within minutes there were two skills she was missing that I knew Division One coaches are going to overlook her immediately. Okay. But I can't demand go in the gym and do those two skills that I need. Now I talked to her and her family, and I happen to know her club coach. So it really helped. But she told me in our first session that she had these two skills. I said, look, you need a bigger dismount on bars and you need a stronger tumbling pass. So she said, I have those. I said, well, where are they? I don't see them on Instagram. And she said, well, they're not good enough. I said, send them to me. I want to look at them. So she sends them to me and I'm like, they're fine. So let's get these on there. So we did. The next step was, okay, now how are she can't put them in full routines yet for her 2025 season because she didn't have the endurance for it. So I realized as her advisor, I needed to find a way to get her to show these college coaches they are going to be in her routine in the future. They weren't going to be in there last season because I know how long it takes to put them in a full routine, but I knew they were coming. So we had this whole plan. So she competed last, her junior year as a level 10. She made it through the whole season. She did fine, but she did not have she was missing those two skills still. So, but we were showing them gently on Instagram as she was progressing. We were talking about them, how they're going to be in her routines. And then season finished, and bam, I told her, you cannot slow down. Now's the time. We have to show these college coaches that they are truly going to be in your routines. That's what we did. It took her throughout the summer. She did it. She got an offer. She actually got a couple offers. So it was really neat. But how can a kid who's trying to do their Instagram, or a parent who's never been a gymnast or a judge or a college athlete understand those kinds of things? It's very technical in the sport of gymnastics. So there you go. That was, I thought, a really good sample because sometimes I try to explain it to families when they call JH Consulting and they say, can you help my daughter? And I say, well, look, we have to evaluate everything first. I've got to see her scores from the past. I need to see what she's posted already. I need to see who she's reached out to. I need to see how I think she's going to develop. And then we come up with a whole plan for them and really help guide them on Instagram on how to post the right videos at the right time, and also in their comments, talk about how they're progressing, why they're adding that skill. There's so much to Instagram and videos and those kinds of things. So there you go. That was a situation. Now I'm going to share just some of the questions that I've been getting as parents about videos. Okay. Some of the issues first that I see with gymnasts across the board. Gymnasts do not want to post unless it's perfect. So if you have a gymnast who you are trying to get her to post because you are the parent and you've heard they need to post, you are not alone. It's really hard, even as advisors. These gymnasts are being taught since they were little. They need to try to score a 10, which is perfection. So they hold back from posting. So they often need somebody to say, this one's okay to post. It's clean enough. And we're looking for clean, not perfect, I tell them, because you're never going to be perfect. And we don't have time to wait for something that's never going to happen. We got to get your videos up there. But they don't know which ones are clean enough sometimes. And I think that's where they often need some help. Gymnasts struggle to know what to post, especially out of season. So they know they should post routines because that's what college coaches are going to look at in order to see if they have the right start values and how are they going to score. But they don't often know out of season what the college coach's lens is looking for. So we talk about that. For example, the one thing almost every gymnast leaves out, and college coaches tell me all the time, I want to see her basics. And then when I tell a client that, they look at me like I'm crazy. Who would have thought they want to see my basics? They want to see full routines, right? They want to see the big skills, right? They want to see me try to attempt a Yurchenko layout 1.5 into the pit. I'm like, no, they don't. They don't want to see that. They want to see clean gymnastics, and they want to see basics. They want to see, how do you warm up? How do you, what do you do on beam for your beam drills, for your leaps and jumps? They're coaches. They have to see body alignment. They want to see technique. Okay. They know what they can teach you when they get you. Yeah, you have to do full routines, but kids don't realize the value of their conditioning, of how they handled an injury. There's so much more to posting videos that get an athlete recruited than just their highlight. I think all kids think highlight video. Let me show them my very best. Well, actually, when you talk to college coaches, they're like, no, I want to see you on your worst day. How did you handle that routine when you fell? That's one of the best videos you can post. When you're in a meet, you fall off, you take a deep breath, and then you get back up and you nail your routine. That's what a college coach is looking for, believe it or not. Yeah, you got to be consistent. You got to hit your routines. I'm not taking that away from any athlete, but kids don't realize this. They're trying to achieve perfection before they're going to post. And that's when they get into trouble in recruiting, because you look at their platform on Instagram and there's hardly any videos there, or they're only of their very best meet, or maybe just a highlight video. I had one athlete, all she had were highlights. And I was like, okay, we need to start over. And she's like, start over? And I'm like, yeah, highlights will not get you recruited. It might capture the attention if they're good highlights. It's from the college coach, but after that, they're going to scroll. And if they don't see what they need to see on each event consistently, they're going to move on. Okay. What else? Gymnasts worry about what their friends will think. I mentioned that earlier. Gymnasts need encouragement and reminders that their Instagram is a business resume. I mentioned that. Some of the questions I get, can I post videos from other college camps? So when the kids go to camps, the girls, and it shows Alabama on the wall, and they do a really nice whatever, tumbling pass, or they learn something on bars. They're afraid to post that because it has the university of a school, one school, and maybe they're going to a camp somewhere else, or they want to get recruited by someone else. That doesn't matter. They can post it. I'm telling kids all the time, do not worry that you're taking a camp video from one college and posting it. College coaches know you're out there going to camps. They think, hey, you're competitive. That's good. That's a good thing. All right. So that's kind of a fallacy that they worry about. Um, do I only post full routines? I already mentioned that. That's a big no. There's so much more they want to see. They're coaches. They want to see how you get from A to B. If it's on the low beam first, that's fine, as long as you're progressing to the high beam. Let's see. What do college coaches want to see? They want to see basics, like I said earlier, leaps and jumps, your choreography. How do you move on beam? Show me your dance. They want to get to know you as a person. They want, to see how you're growing and developing and learning the skills that you're going to get when you get a little older. Usually I recommend you start your Instagram at level 9. You don't need to do it earlier. You might see all these parents doing it earlier, but for recruiting purposes, level 9 is a great foundation for basics. And then of course, when they get to level 10, it's a big deal. Okay. Spots are fine. Athletes who are spotted, but doing it by yourself, of course, is better. Low beam is fine, showing progress, but high beam is better, and they're going to definitely want to see it on high beam. How often should I post? Well, here's a big one. You might be surprised, girls, if there's any girls on here listening. So I added up with my athletes for about a week. I started asking my clients, tell me how many turns you take a day in the gym on vault. Let's say you do 3 events. And then we added up a full week, and it was over 200 turns they take a week in the gym, whether it's on all four events or three events, whatever's going on, over 200 times they take a turn or do a pass or do their bar skills or whatever. So I told them my requirement for you are four videos. I want four from that 200 a week. I want four a week loaded to your Instagram. They can't even believe that. They think four is like the hardest thing, some of the girls. But once we go through, well, these are, the list of 20 things college coaches want to see all the time, then four videos a week is nothing. It's absolutely hardly anything, right? Okay, so what else? Instagram is all about algorithms. So sometimes reels are a better option than just videos being posted, something to remember. One highlight video at the top to grab their attention is great, but college coaches are not interested in your highlight. They want to see the work ethic you have. They want to see how you progress. They want to see how you got better, how you got cleaner. They're looking for that kind of progress. So if you only show the highlights, like I said, you're probably going to struggle getting recruited. Um, let's see. Can you put skills? The girls ask me sometimes, can we put skills they need for start values? So whenever you're posting a video and you're going to add a skill into a routine, you want to talk about it and you want to say, I'm going to be adding this into my routine, so my start value will be at a 10 for college. That helps a college coach. They don't have to think, they don't have to go back through all your videos and figure it out. So, really, in the comments on the videos, it's really important that the girls understand how to communicate to help the college coaches go, oh, yeah, she's going to add that in her routine. I think last time I didn't know that. So, I didn't think she was up to our level. Well, if she puts that in, she's going to be at our level. You see, so it's just like a quicker way for them to go, I want that girl. I want to watch that girl. They want to see what your endurance is like. So they want to see full routines. They want to see half routines. They want to see can you cast to a handstand at the end of your routine? So that's why it's important to show all of it. Should you put videos into your emails? It depends.
Email.
College coaches take about 2 minutes on an email, if that. So you better put a good video in there so that next time they'll open your email again. If you're going to put one in, I say one is fine, but it better be attention grabbing and really a good one. But keep those emails short and sweet and maybe just the one video. But the video needs to be you are proving your facts to the coach. Okay. So you can talk all you want to a college coach on an email about how you're going to be or how you want to be on their team, but they're looking for facts. Okay. So videos are your proof, especially if they don't have the budget to come out and see you. Your Instagram and your videos are going to be your facts. All right. So there you go. We have now gone for 30 minutes. And do you have any questions? Do you guys? Okay, here we go. Currently recovering from ankle surgery. Injuries are fine in gymnastics. I know it's overwhelming, but so many girls go through injuries. I know we have a whole sheet of things that we give our athletes to be doing when they're injured that can still really impress the college coaches and keep their recruiting moving forward. So it's not something they should hold back on when they're injured. All right. I don't really see too many questions. I'm going to wait a few seconds here and see if you guys type anything in. Now that I've shared about videos, what have I left out? Should the Instagram be public? Well, I'm cautious on that depending on your child's age. So if it is public, you need to be managing it, is my feeling, if they're not ninth graders yet. So, but yeah, public really helps because then the college coach can see everything. Sometimes when they're private, it's really hard for the coaches to get all the information they want off of there, or it's hard for them to find you. So public is the best way to go, but I really encourage parents to be involved if that's going to happen. Okay. Um, let's see. Here's a lot of questions. Have you guys ever worked with hockey players? So what we do is a foundational session with any athlete of any sport, so we can get you started. But we don't have a hockey advisor, like an advisor who's been a hockey player. Best way to prioritize fall camps for 26, better to return to some a second time when they've had a good conversation with coaches or try to get to new ones. I would need to know the whole picture to be able to advise that. There's a lot of things I think about as an advisor when I ask athletes to go to a fall camp. Where, it's expensive to get to all these camps, and I like them to be very targeted. So I would have to know a lot more about your athlete before I could really help in that area. How often should you email coaches? Depends. It depends on where they're at in the recruiting process. So a lot of coaches won't open emails. So if we do it too early, we get in the thank you pile. If we don't do it enough, then it can be they forget about the athlete. So it all depends. And we look at everything. Somebody has their phone. If you could mute, that'd be great. Can you mute your phones or your computer?
No, seriously, I'm gonna take it in.
Camps, I did that. Are we behind if our gymnasts will likely reach level 10 only by junior year? No, you're not behind. I mean, yeah, if you look at a kid who's been at their middle school years, you would consider yourself maybe behind her, but not more in gymnastics. No, you're fine. A little off topic. What do you suggest to wear in a trip? Oh, that's a good one. Colors of the school. Okay, somebody's phone. You need to mute it or something. Thank you. That's a great question. Wojtek.
Thank you.
I don't know who that family is. Let's see. Concern with being Canadian. Will they consider? Yeah, we have a Vicky who's Canadian. Because our Canadians,
Okay.
gets a lot of them on college teams. Place them. So it is harder. I would say it's a little tougher. I would say you definitely need an advisor, and I'm not just putting that out there. But there's so much to for Canadians to get the exposure they need. Can you post past season videos after already posted videos? Absolutely. Depends on the point of why you'd want to do that.
Is yours good?
Depends. I would have to know why you'd want to do that. But I think sometimes sprinkling in past videos of really good routines is a great idea. Because on Instagram, it goes in order of timeline. So sometimes I have girls, if they're really strong on bars, for example, and they hit a really strong bar routine, but they're a year later now and they've had some injuries, I'll say, hey, let's pull that bar video up to the top. Should a gymnast mention in an email that they know their skills still need work? To say that, for sure. It's how you word it. I think college coaches appreciate it when a gymnast knows that they still, have a ways to go. You have mentioned that college coaches will look at My Meet Scores, however, not all meets are captured there. That's true. Will they look at My Meet Scores online as well? Should these links be included in the athlete's Instagram? No, you don't have to include them. And they know where to go. They go to they'll go to My Meet Scores online. And even if there aren't scores there, they'll find the scores, they'll find them. They've been doing this for a long time. They usually know where to find those scores. And if not, they'll ask the athlete. But you can.
No, it's okay.
Get to the Instagram profile to make it easier. How do coaches discover your child's Instagram account? Through an email we send. Also, Jill. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I have actually muted people before. I think there's so many people on that I forgot I could do that. Thank you so much. How do coaches discover your child's Instagram account? Okay, yeah, typically when they start emailing the college coaches, they'll have that in their email. Yes, through an email. Okay, where can I find fall camps? Oh my goodness, they're all over the place. In fact, today I saw like five. I think Instagram is the best place, or you can find it on their websites, the college websites. But Instagram, boy, they're coming out all over the place today. What is the best way to handle a not so great meet, but still post about it? It depends, but I would say be honest. I mean, I think kids want to hide meets. It depends on how rough it was, but I'm always like, hey, look at it differently. What did you overcome at that meet? And you can talk about it. So you could post just a picture of being outside the building of a meet and saying it was a rough day, but these are the things I learned. You could post maybe a routine where you fell once and said it wasn't my best meet overall, but I hit this event pretty well. And then you talk about it in the comments. Because they're going to find the scores. So I always tell the girls, you can't hide. You can't hide who you really are. You can't hide your scores. They usually find them. So, it's better to admit it and be honest because they love when you're not in denial of what's going on in your career. Do they have to have Tenno start values junior year on all four events? Absolutely not. No. In fact, most girls do not. And I'm talking Tenno start value for college. Most families don't realize there's a different rule book for college than there is for club. So we go over all that with our clients as well so that parents and athletes understand that. And it's super important. How important are fall camps? Boy, they can be the thing that seals the deal. So a lot of coaches wait for fall camps because girls have had injuries. They needed to build their upgrades and then they come to the fall camp. Instead of summer, they're still trying to come back from an injury or they've been ill or they didn't have a great season. And it takes that many months to learn one skill sometimes. And then by the time fall camps come, I am like targeting the right schools for these girls to make sure now you can show them your vault. You got it. It took maybe 5 months all summer. Go to this camp now, but I wait till I make sure there's some good interest. How often should you be texting a college coach that you are talking to? It's kind of up to the coach more. But if they open the door for an athlete to be texting, they better be doing it and not be afraid. I think most girls are afraid to bother the coaches. And I always tell them, you are not bothering them. If they're interested in you, they want to hear from you, they get super busy. So it just depends again on the situation. You don't want to be annoying, but you definitely want to be texting if they've asked you to text. Hard to hear you with others. Okay, good. Okay, mute your phones, everyone. The meeting organizer should be able to mute I don't have a meeting organizer. It's me. Okay.
Okay.
What about tagging coaches? That's a
All
big
right.
one.
I would
Okay, we have another person. There's so many people on here. Mute, please.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking, see who's unmuted.
Okay. Yeah.
When we do consignment,
Mhm.
they put tax on it, but when
Okay,
I buy
so
stuff
I don't know who it is.
Uh-huh.
Too many people.
I buy all this.
I'm gonna have to get an organizer, meeting organizer for the next one. What
Okay.
about
And I resell
tagging coaches? Okay, I'm very careful on that. I'm not big.
Okay.
I'm not a big
Get no more
proponent of
offers.
it
Okay.
because
All right. Thank
you
you.
tag certain schools, you're gonna leave out certain schools. So you know what? I don't recommend it. I don't think
People
it's
are
a
so
good idea
stupid.
until
No,
you
people-
absolutely maybe narrowed it down maybe that. I don't even recommend it then. I know it sounds like a good idea, but it's really not. Especially if you're tagging when you're not up to their level. Then they think you don't know what you're doing, So you're tagging all the big schools because you're young and you think that would be so cool to go there, but then they look at your videos and they go, well, you're not at our level. So, or we're done with that year. Then they think you come across like maybe you don't know, about recruiting. That's never good. Is Instagram private messaging appropriate at all for sending updates and videos, or should a recruit stick to email? I'd stick to emails. Only do private when they ask you to. Okay, I did. Okay. Thank you for all the muting information. If the gymnast has college level skills of the colleges they're targeting, but not yet the scores, should they hold off? Yes, absolutely. Well, they can email whenever, but we don't recommend it until they're close or very much at the level, because then you take the chance of getting in the no thank you pile. Okay, I'm so sorry about the loudness. If the gymnast attends a college camp, should the gymnast tag the college on a video post on Instagram? And should you be tagging your desired schools? Already answered that one. Advice for my first fall camp. My best advice, first fall camp, depends how old you are. Depends why you're going. What's your point? What's your purpose? What's your plan? We go through all of that. There's so much to the first fall camp, but you got to bring the energy and you want to be sure you are, going with a purpose. These aren't cheap to fly all over to. So I'd have to know way more about your situation, but they can be such good experiences because they're one day, few hours, get on the campus, meet the coaches, but we want it to be at schools that you're going to have a shot at. Does it hurt recruiting to be a specialist? No, not anymore. On your Instagram account, should you post videos that are like celebrations for winning as a team, even if there is no gymnastics? Yeah, great. Shows your attitude. To show resilience and boost up content, even if last season, should she go back and share meet experience where she had a terrible event, but then overcame? Yes, even if it's old, it depends. How old depends on if it was clean, routine. I would have to look at it and evaluate it. That's a tough one, but potentially, yes. Is there a particular month or time of year that is best to send your initial introductory email to coaches? It's not a month or time of year. It is all about, are you at their level? Are you going to be at their level? We don't want to get put in the no thank you pile. They get 30 plus emails a day. So they have to weed through those. So you want them to receive your athlete's email and go, wow, I want to keep that girl on my watch list, or I want to recruit that girl. You're not sending emails because most parents think we don't want to miss the boat. We better start sending them in ninth grade but the ninth grade level 9 first year is not where they're not going to be all excited about that situation. Okay. There's too many level 10s in ninth grade, but it's okay. You're going to get there. You just need to wait and be patient and not rush that. Okay. Are camps typically held in the fall? Yes, it's becoming huge. They're not, I wouldn't call them camps. They're kind of like clinics. They're like one day, few hours. They're awesome. I just wanted to clarify something. Did you mention earlier that athlete's Instagram account was discovered by the coach after we sent the email? I missed that part due to a mute issue. Could you please confirm? Okay, so it can be discovered in so many different ways. All right, so it can be through initially an email, an introduction email listed.
Information.
Somebody's chatting again. Please mute. Or
Don't send an email unless you're a level 10.
they can find you on because you stand out.
do what
and they're
Caroline
scrolling
did.
through. So there can be different variety of ways to be found. But yeah, put your Instagram handle name in your introduction email. If the college coaches start following the gymnast, should the gymnast email them? It depends. If that's where her grades match, is that where location, is that the right, there's lots of things we consider to make that decision. But some coaches follow everybody. So, it can be very deceptive. Other coaches don't follow at all and they really like an athlete. So everybody's kind of different. Okay. Does a gymnast have to be a level 10 before they send an email to coaches? Depends on what division, but yeah, usually level 10. I mean, you don't have to be, but they're going to put you in the no thank you pile if there aren't reasons to keep you. And they're looking for level 10 start values for college. That's what they're all looking for. But some division 2 and 3 schools would love to have a specialist who's really has level 10, maybe a level 9 with level 10 skills on a couple events. So sometimes that works too. Okay, everyone. My goodness, this was such a great event. I plan to do it again and again. So give me your topics. Let me know. I love doing a free recruiting workshop. You guys were outstanding. And I want to make it, something that you really can learn from. All right, so I'm Jill, jhicksconsulting.com. And if you have an interest in hiring one of our advisors, all you got to do is fill out the forms page. It says get started on our website, drop down, fill it out, and they'll call you within 24 hours and go over all our plans and what we do. All right. Oh, good. I'm glad you loved it. You guys are so sweet. I hope it was informative. Yeah, I plan to do it again and again. I think this is a much better platform than I've been using. Obviously, there have been, 70 of you, so I will do it again. Be sure to watch for it. Get on our newsletter. That's where you're going to get all the info. And yeah, I'll do a variety of topics. You guys were great. Good luck. Yes, it will be recorded for our families who are paying clients. Yeah, it's only for our families who are paying. We're going to record it for them. Otherwise, you have to be here live. All right, you all. I know recruiting's not easy. Hang in there and keep encouraging your daughters to have fun and enjoy their friends. The two most important things in sports. That's why girls stay in the sport.
Bye, Jill.
Hi, who is that?